Hello, everyone. How are you feeling? Good? Good? Wonderful. How many people have never been to this space before? Oh my goodness, so many. Welcome. So this is Massy Art Society. There's also Massy Books, which is just on East Georgia. But what we do here is kind of what you see. So we're a gallery space and also a literary arts hub. And so thank you for being here in the spirit of poetry and, literary endeavors. My name is Brandon. I am one of the events coordinators here. Recently, this is my first event shift, although I'm, oh, thank you. It's not about me, please. I'm also a poet and spoken word artist, and so it's especially meaningful that the first event that I can be here for is a poetry event. I'm quite excited. As some of you have seen already, the washrooms are here. We invite you to keep your masks on throughout the night. Thank you for doing so. We have books for sale. Naturally, we have books for sale. Let's try to get rid of all of them, yeah? We also have, what do we have? Yes, wine and beer for $5 each. More book buying than wine imbibing, maybe, I don't know. Whatever ratio works for you is good for me too. Anyway, that's really all I have to say. My name is Brandon. Gloria is here recording some portions of the event. So the reading portion will be recorded for something that we have called Massy Voices. But the Q&A, such that there is one, won't be recorded. So, if you're shy, you can continue to be shy and it's okay. It's okay. So without further ado, I'll just invite Raoul to be Oh, actually, no. I have a land acknowledgement to make. I told you I'm excited. I'm very excited. Yes, so as many of you will already be aware, Massy Art Society exists and, is residing on the traditional territories of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish people. And so, given that this is a poetry event, I've been thinking a lot about, how do we take a word or a term like decolonial or decolonialism or anti-colonialism and make it something more than the sort of symbolic or metaphoric realm that it exists within, So like how do we take a word like unceded and stolen and really like sit with the tension of that as poets and writers and people who are like, invested in the meanings of words, And so of course you're going to hear lots of wonderful metaphors, lots of figurative language, but for me, it's about like, how can my relationship to decolonialism or anti-colonial activity actually be an activity beyond the space of the symbolic or the figurative? So, I don't have the answers, but I invite us all to sort of sit with that in the back of our beautiful brains for the duration of the evening. And now, without further ado, I will invite Raoul. Goodness gracious, it's my first time. Raoul to take the stage and be the captain of the ship. Round of applause for Raoul.
All right. Thanks, Brandon. Give him another hand. We're here. Massy Arts, Massy Books. I love this space. I love Massy Books. It's my favorite bookstore in the city. I feel like it's the kind of jewel of the city. I send everyone I know who's looking to buy my book or anyone else's book. I send them there. They do so many great things for the community, for the literary world, for the art world. Honored to be in this space. Thank you, Sheryda and Jane, for inviting me to host your event. These are two incredible minds, wonderful human beings that I'm just always just delighted to be around. I'm hoping that I will do a good job. I'm tired and underslept, but I will do the best of it. Another quick housekeeping duties: if you have phones that make sounds, set them to poetry reading mode or whatever.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah. The event's called An Evening with Sheryda and Jane, which is you know, as far as evenings go, I don't think we can do much better. So the way it's going to work, we're going to have Sheryda come up first, then Jane, and then you'll have sort of like a conversation that you can listen in on, sort of like a podcast, but with real people. That's the way I think about it. Before we start, I want to get a sense of the crowd. Some of you are new to the space. Has anyone like not come to a poetry reading since like COVID? Oh, you guys have all. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, a couple. Good, because I have a bit that I'm gonna do, and I needed someone to have not come to a reading. So I'm going to explain what a poetry reading is. A short sort of mini essay. Short note on a poetry reading. This is a poetry reading. We have poets here. We have built poems, which, as William Carlos Williams put it, are little machines made of words. These machines have been created in rooms of varying temperature and light and sound, or written outside or on trains, I don't know. And while they are sometimes about things or seem to have an aboutness, they also within them have captured the movements of a particular human minds at their most mindful and curious and attentive. And now when these poems are read to us here, as the poets will do momentarily in this room of particular temperature and light and sound, they are activated, not just by being read aloud, but also by our listening. A kind of wobbly symmetry is possible in our minds. And through this strange and ancient technology, we have got as close as we can to a kind of fuzzy telepathy or a psychic exchange of gifts. At best, we get a brief but deep respite from loneliness. So that's what a poetry reading is. I feel like it's good. It's a good reminder, even for us that go to a lot of readings. It's kind of an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing to do to your mind. I'm going to introduce Sheryda now. Sheryda Warrener is the author of the poetry collections Hard Feelings Through Invisible, Floating is Everything from Nightwood Editions, and Test Piece, which she'll be mostly sharing today, from Coach House Books. She lives on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded land of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam nations, where she is a lecturer in poetry and interdisciplinary forms in the School of Creative Writing at the University of British Columbia. And I picked out a little, I tend to like research little things. I picked this out from an interview you did in Carte Blanche. This is a lovely thing she said. I suppose the main thing I love about the process of making things is defamiliarization. It feels critical to the act of paying attention in the world, this investment in what I call aliveness. And it disrupts your self-making too, right? It's like, oh, I can see myself anew because of this artwork or this poem, or because of someone else's experience of and response to something I've made. It's this beautiful circular thing. So please give a warm welcome to Sheryda Warrener.
Oh, this is so lovely. I love being in a room and reading. Thank you, Raoul. That intro was lovely. Is everyone comfortable enough here? Feeling okay? Great. So it's very beautiful. I am going to read a couple of poems from different rooms. One of them is the more conceptual room of memory, and the other one is the room I spent most of the pandemic in, or basically all of the pandemic in, my living room. Thank you to Massy Arts. Thanks to Brandon and Gloria for being here. Thanks to all of you. It's lovely to see familiar faces, friends, and poets. It's lovely. And thanks to Jane for inviting me to read. A blue filter. So this is memory of a time when I was living in Japan, and it does take place on a train most of the time. And one poet, author, writer that I mentioned in the poem is Kawabata, Yasunari Kawabata, a Japanese writer. Is famous for these palm of the hand stories. if you're not familiar with his work. A blue filter. Traveling southbound, 8:17 a.m. express. Book in hand could be Snow Country or Thousand Cranes. Blue flash in her periphery, she looks up. From the train window through late spring's foreign language, the book could be The Sound of the Mountain or The Old Capital. She looks up. Gold and white stipples the blue. Disruption to a green daily rhythm, dozy passengers fail to notice. A door between compartments opens, generates a breezeway. Kawabata's voice over the loudspeaker. Paper ads sway and clack in the train's lurches. She considers her own noticing a virtue. Before it was an iris field, it was an ordinary field of wild grasses, soil, weeds, etc. Before the blue spear's sensing light struck upwards, broke the surface, the woman didn't think to wonder what might have been growing there. Before she reads, irises prefer to be in close proximity to humans. Before the paragraph, when the iris motif appears on the girl's obi and later in a painting on the kitchen wall. Memory stores in roots, reblooms. Now she no longer recalls shapes or colors, only a sensation of irises. There, not there. Even decades later, she recalls the fields noticing. Slips in and out of time, disrupts, takes shape from memory, passed down through a blue filter. Temporal ligature, triumphant motif, back and forthness, chorus of paper voices in the zigzag of time. 8:17 a.m. train appears, dissolves. She arranges her body iris side, is met with a thresh green line. In the middle of wild grasses, a blue vibration. No, it's the device buzzing in the field of her hand. Flowers cut, thrust into buckets, travel south to be plucked at the market, later to spy periscopic from alcoves, silhouettes against translucent screens, dynamic arrangements. Farmers gather at a picnic table in communion with this flowerless edge. The woman on the train is impermanent as an iris, not the same going into the city as she is coming home at night. Rush hour, as buckets of irises spill from buckets at market stalls, she waits on the platform to transfer trains. A man in starched white gloves approaches from behind, shoves her body into the compartment of anonymous bodies. In the lurch, her face collides with a shoulder blade. Eyes simultaneously close as the train travels underground. Crush of impact lifts. A downy glove opens in the field of her mind. What hands, what cramped, what airless, what time, what hands, what lurch, what cramped. As the train accelerates, flower body retreat into private stations, a ruthless blue gold loop. She shunts out the doors into air, shoved up hard against absence. Even now, her body stores the feeling. She does a little research to find it. Lifeless in a glass case at the gallery, decades later, another city, home. Glove dates back to the 12th century. Bleached cotton makes hands easier to see. What does a glove dream? As she wanders tiltingly from case to case and on into another room, a flattening, well after she leaves the exhibit. Out of sequence fragments proliferate even decades later. Irises repeat across various feeds. Stained glass, decorative paper, a blue burst from a party cracker. one of 3 spring colorways. Southbound across time, a train, many trains clack and sway, compartments empty and fill, fields empty and fill, buckets at markets empty and fill, a man, many men appear, dissolve, many gloves shove, many trains clack and sway, many hands fill, memories in the body die down to the root, rebloom. Her body holds the long blue sentence of it. She looks up. Okay, so from my living room that I share with my partner and my son, trying to make poems and teach and live life and socialize and do all those things as we were all trying to do on a clear day. And the title of this poem borrows its title from a sequence of drawings, screen prints by Agnes Martin, and they're just grids, and each one slightly different from the next. And it's called On a Clear Day. 1 minute I'm an empress laid out on a marble slab, gold coins over my eyes, jewels at my feet, and the next my sleep mask slips as an alarm disrupts and a hand lifts to silence. Doubleness, and should I drift from? Day opens like a curtain, I shrug inside. First, water, kettle, blue claw of flame, 3 counterclockwise turns to bloom the grinds. Anemone's leafy fringe lifts my spirits. Dollop of whip in coffee lifts my esprit. A pint of blueberries in tiny crowns appoint me ruler of this expanse. I crack the patio door for air. Felted fish dolls stir above the sink. The artist hid crystals in some and not others, not sure which I have, but here they hang at the hearth of all rituals. A clear domestic space is a clear psychic space. Before email, class prep, Mama, have you seen I make my move. A book planted with colorful flags initiates a rhythm. Get a little contact high from language. A jolt improves me. Jumpstart for the mind's engine. Stimulants appreciate in value. Apply steadfast with clear senses. Out from the center, long horizontal bands alternate blue, blue, alternate light blue, gray, silver, light blue. A set of gestures opens the frequencies. Toaster pop signals the soft poach is ready to be lifted from the roiling pot. A pouch I could stuff all my things into, attached to a stick. Don't worry, I assure the succulents, the seasoned cast iron. Above the table, a photo of a space I once inhabited, a version of myself recast back to me. Stuck between my own patterns, this kitchen's grid of tiles. Email, brush your teeth, did you sunscreen? What if it is what you mean? Repetition leads to fluency. A sheer weave requires tending. A pure concentration, no distraction. Hold open a space for the impulse to dip and flare. Where the threads shift, careful. A tendency to bruise. Disturb the weave away from its woven uniformity. My son interrupts to ask if he can extend his screen time. Dishes flourish in the sink. The sheer height sets a new precedent. I make my move, perform underwater sonatas with the cutlery, train my attention out beyond the ginkgo and maple as an elderly terrier is coddled up the street in the arms of its master. What does she whimper in the dog's ear? how earthly we behave, believing we're alone. With a clear surface and a little give, the mind thrives. Catch in hand a phrase or line, then pull taut. Don't overwork it. A sticky note on the bay window, fields of inquiry. Soften the dust cloth, cinch my sleep shirt, and Vanna around the apartment, stimulating with a light touch various neglected surfaces, porcelain, wool, parquet. Joy the fixtures, freshen the adages. Disturb with a circular motion particulate matter before it accumulates. Add to the list as I go, tub stopper, white vinegar, all over color, flowers for Vi, art in time. Gestures of care and reparation, infinite forces, a placement of intervals, and the grid appears to waver. Perceive in glimpses, sleek as filament, confluence of threads, shifts in precise increments, disperse just as quick. Fish slip through the reeds of sentences, crystals activate in caves, broom rasp on pavement as the neighbor sweeps the lot just out of sight. Way back in the closet's dark, moths ruche holes into cuffs and pockets of cardigans, late fragments. Turn the record, turn the clay pots, turn toward the automated voice going by. You have reached your destiny, syllabus, text CNH back, running from plant blades, impale air. Backlit outside shadows intensify, predatory. Upstairs, chairs grind hard against hardwood. The neighbor's voice amplifies, making fun of his baby's cries. From the patio, I banish detritus from the rugs. Come back inside perfected with bite marks, crescent shadows from the eclipse. Everyday things mistaken for everyday things. Napkin swans, salami roses. Repetition, a mode of protection. Delicate calibration with a steady hand. A simple in and out flat weave, loosely woven. Nets the wild tax. I use my powers to activate the fish, silver now, gliding into the caulking between tiles. Smash them underfoot in ashy heaps, unfinished elegies. A clear domestic space is a clear psychic space. Drag the seaweed of my hair from the drain. Is there a poem here called Self? A comb missing 3 teeth. Wipe the mirror clean with my face inside. A constant negotiation with real consequences, shrewd parameters, a rigid weave encroaches. A hand loosely mends the damages. Out walking, I have no real belongings. My body invents a new cadence, falling in step with the sidewalk's incongruent lines as my mind traffics in dreams. Time for a shrimp cocktail? Spinach dip in a bread bowl? An argument cuts through leaf-shirred light. I want to make you happy, but don't know how. And the park's self-cleaning public toilet trips its own alarm. Alternate blue-gray, alternate light. Is this the form I come home to? Cells or facts on the face of my pillowcase. Bright chimes sound from another room, remote as real fortune. Late afternoon unclasps, a table pulled apart to make room for more leaves. I miss the younger body within this one, and the body within that one, and so on. Take the misshapen beanbag chair from my throne, tug off my bralette, loosen myself within the structure. I didn't make it to see on a clear day, but when I turn from sink to photograph, yes, these infinite interiors coax life out of me. When he wakes, my son will use the dark parts to check if his hair is sticking up. Motifs appear and reappear, catching up with me. Loud checks, interlocking geometries, cast off ends. Now, what is it I'm looking for? In glass, the open form assembles line by line. Thank you for listening.
Great, Sheryda. What bit more? Yeah. I got it. I have had the book for a little while, so I've got to read it a few times. It just keeps giving. It's such a wonderful collection. I think I can't look at a blueberry now without seeing that little crown.
They're coming for you.
I'm going to introduce Jane next. Jane Munro is a Canadian poet, writer, and educator. Blue Sonoma, her sixth poetry collection, won the 2015 Griffin Poetry Prize. Munro's newest poetry collection is Falls Creek from Harbour Publishing. Her recent books include Open Every Window, a memoir from Douglas and McIntyre, and Glass Float from Brick Books. She is a member of the collaborative poetry group Yoko's Dogs. I'm going to ask you about that later. Munro has read to audiences across Canada and Ireland, the USA, Italy, India, and Egypt. This May, she will be leading Sage Hill's poetry colloquium. And I stole another thing from an interview. I hope you don't mind. I forget what the question was, but Jane was quoting Jane Hirschfield. The quote is, "A good poem is a bit like a volcanic island. It creates new terrain for the soul." And Jane went on to say, "In a volcano, the stuff coming up was previously hidden. Poems can make visible and invite us to pay attention to individual and social shadows. If Young's right, and we need to agree to the whole experience to get a full life, then incorporating what was molten and unformed into a concentrated pattern of words gives us new ground, a place to explore, camp out, maybe even plant a garden. Oddly though, it may at first strike us as new terrain. We recognize and trust its reliability and its continuity with the rest of our experience. Now that it's there, it's there." Please give a warm welcome to Jane Munro.
First thing I have to do is make sure this is at the right height. I'm a bit shorter than you two. Okay, thank you, Raoul. I totally have forgotten that I had said that, but I like it. So I'm glad to be reminded of it. I'm going to be reading tonight from Falls Creek, which came out in this fall. But I'm not going to read from the book itself, because when I read from the book, I have to wear glasses and I'm looking down. But when I read from paper where I've printed out the poems that I'm reading in larger font, I can also look up at you sometimes too. So thank you so much for coming. It's really a pleasure to be in Massy Arts. It's a wonderful space, and I am so impressed with the work that Massy Arts and Massy Books do with your community and here. And it's an honor to be invited to read here and be part of your Voices of Massy Arts. So I lived for 20 years on the southwest coast of Vancouver Island, on what is known as the Wild Coast, between Souk and Port Renfrew, in quite an isolated area. And I came back to Vancouver in 2012 where I had lived and actually I had come over to work and teach at various times during the time I was on the island. I was at Point No Point on Vancouver Island. But I hadn't lived in the city and I like to walk. So one of the first things that I did was to start walking around Falls Creek. And when I was on the seawall, I realized I knew very little about Falls Creek. I didn't understand anything about its history or who had lived here. I knew, and then I realized I really knew very little about the history of Vancouver and this place. So I started doing a lot of research. One of the things that I did, which was really helpful to me, was that I took a decolonial aesthetics course from Emily Carr, in which we had Indigenous artists coming to speak to us. And that I found, opened my mind in various ways. And I learned things that although I had grown up here, I didn't really understand. And it was, and then I began looking at old maps, and I went to the Beatty Biodiversity Museum at UBC and began looking for who lived in Falls Creek, what the flora and fauna had been earlier before we brought our colonialism into this place. So as I walked, I began, and then also I went to various museums, and there was Cessna, the city before the city, the Musqueam cities, or city that had been here for 9,000 years before Vancouver. And I began to assemble more of an understanding, just beginning to. So as I walked Falls Creek, I was learning to think about, I was getting curious about and paying attention to things that I was learning through research as well. Falls Creek. I think I'm going to have to put my glasses on anyway. Okay, Falls Creek, can you hear me? Yeah. Chock full, not with dog walkers, photographers, buskers, cement trucks, rowing sculls, tubby little ferries zigzagging shore to shore, piles of mangosteens, tuna fillets on ice, buckets of stargazer lilies. No painted piano for the public to play. No stack of yellow wheelbarrows for marina members. Populated with eelgrass, sea asparagus, bladderwrack, bull kelp, oysters, clams, mussels, abalone, crab, octopus, surf smelts, oolakan, herring spawn, chitons, sea urchins, periwinkle, moon snails, humpback whales, sturgeon, sockeye, pink, coho, canvasback, goldeneye, bufflehead, dunlin, great blue herons, hummingbirds, bald eagles, kingfishers, ravens, waxwings, owls, sandpipers, martins, porcupines, salamanders, wolves, frogs, elk, bear, otter, dogwood, bitter cherry, elderberry, bunchberry, thimbleberry, blackberry, huckleberry, salmonberry, skunk cabbage, monkey flower, devil's club, bleeding hearts, ocean spray, nodding onion, camas, mutated native wetlands, water coming up from ground beneath, eastern 2/5 of the inlet, its estuaries and tidal flats filled with refuse and rubble. Sandbar at the western end, buried by an updredged island. False Creek, 4/5 filled in, now 1/5 its former size. Haunted by a 1,350-year-old Douglas fir, by a 1,835-year-old yellow cedar, by lichens, mosses, ferns, soapberry, wild roses, canoes, languages I don't know, spirits I can't see, retained by mountains still blue behind Yaletown, an abused body of water, inlet to the heart of Vancouver. Nursing the moon. Small, frail, not a good latch, not tugging on the breast, not sucking milk out. The hours it will take to fill this new moon make that much light. Days the nipple falls out, milk spills unswallowed. You pass the moon across, attach it to your other ache. Distended, your blouse drenched, warm belly's sour smell. The moon can't take it all, stops gaining, starts to shrink. You can't let it go, cannot bear no light. How come this cruelty? 215 pairs of children's shoes on monumental steps to the closed back door of what was Vancouver's courthouse and jail. Now is the Vancouver Art Gallery, across from ice rink, university, law courts, above 2 blocks of underground parking. 430 shoes in Tamara Bell's installation. Sea to sea to sea. The underground parking of children. Persons pacing with radar to map erased graves. Rain on grass around structures. Onward Christian soldiers in white dogma, coif, veil, dog collar, blinkered senses, women below men, children below women, foot soldiers marching as to war. Sea to sea to sea. Dominion, domination. Children out of place. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. On a ceiling in the Vatican, at the top of the great chain of being, God reaches out from a brain packed with angels to connect with man. Empires lay train tracks. Newcomers stake claims, break land, take lives, grow wealth, power plants, punish to train. True patriot love in all thy sons command. Below children, shoes, graves sodded over, to see, to see, to see, what is this war? You may recall an exhibit at the Vancouver Art Gallery, a Japanese artist, and huge canvases. This is a poem that starts with that. Exhibit Vancouver Art Gallery 2018, Takashi Murakami. Cement apartments cantilevered out, stacked high and higher, vaults above False Creek, above Granville Street Bridge, above buses and 6 lanes of traffic, above eagles, seagulls, windblown walkers, catacombs under Alexandria carved into limestone, spiral staircase, a well to radiating halls, leading to individual and family burial chambers. Preachers blaring from loudspeakers, their words crisscross and collide against buildings, echoed through narrow streets lined with prayer mats. Men and boys bow under the deluge. On a gallery wall, Murakami's gold leaf background embossed with skulls, and Murakami's black background embossed with skulls. Takashi Murakami hides skulls as well as the dead are hidden in catacombs, and the flattened to their screens sad are coffined during lockdown in cement blocks. They do not walk beside False Creek. They do not meet black bears, grouse, eat salal berries, paddle handcrafted canoes, sleep under stars. They do not know the smell of their grandmother, could not track her. My littlest grandson told me that he knew my smell and that he could track me. Ballast. Fjords, inlets, the fingers of gulfs between us. Tidal bore of pain flooding ashore. Living aboard as he does with his chemo, up and down. Lunation after lunation. Moon's gravity on the tides. Again, E. coli counts high. This inlet fed nations, oolacans and gulls, otters and eagles. Now exhausted permafrost vents methane, heat dome slaughters, starfish, mussels, clams. Despair, deep and deeper, the steady, unbearable. False Creek, Vancouver's keel of grief. When Vesuvius blows up and lapilli, burning pumice stones, rain down on Pompeii and mudslides bury Herculaneum, Pluto seizes Proserpine not for 6 months, but for 2 millennia. The rape can be dated 24th August CE 79. But what I do not understand is the depth of soil covering homes, villages, cities, erased without a volcanic eruption. Beneath Anatolia's rolling grassland, excavations uncover Lydian, Greek, Roman layers. I understand how forests, prairies, canyons, steppes, marshes rise, fall, build duff and humus. The fungal kingdom decomposes, remains of plant and animal kingdoms. Middens of clamshells pile up by villages. But how fast those villages, cities, empires disappear. Garbage tips, landfills, the trash we tossed gets buried by more trash and digested by mycelium. Earth shifts, lifts ranges, rearranges tectonic plates. Ice melts, oceans overflow. Vancouver may wash away. A body of water is alive. An inlet's breath. Currents embrace barnacles, mussels, oysters, cobbles, gravel, granite. Support kayaks, fish boats, yachts. Carry alder leaves, dusty with pollen. Its skin, antic with wind and the orbits of raindrops. Welcoming moon trails, reflections of sunrise. Buried, it leaves ribs, femurs, many metatarsals, its skull and winged hips in the rubble above it. Not that water appears armature by anything calcified, but a body's ghost might take surprising forms, if only in a city's imagination. And strata do layer, clamshells and otter trails. If awareness resides atomically in atoms and speaks elementally, quick steps with generations of steam, cloud, droplet, whiff of moisture, sappy trickle leads to roots in phloem, water-bearing minerals lifted by xylem. If awareness is found underground on Mars, if water is alive, body out of body, out of body. The golden boat. The golden boat, one hand's length, curved as a cupped palm. Thin as Agamemnon's death mask, but not Greek. The golden Irish boat from the 8th century, in a glass case not far from the river Liffey, through whose mouth many fled, oppressor after oppressor. Tiny oars, also of gold, spider's leg oars, a boat to carry prayers. How do prayers row ceaselessly across seas, green with drowned ancestors, drowned dreams, the haunt of griffins? A golden boat of perfect proportion to hold a poet, a crew of poets from a fabled land who also row without cease. Thank you.